So I'm just take a look at this video, see what my friends tell me, give me a reaction video. So I'm just gonna give you a reaction video of this 10 real life deaths caused by video games. Let's do this.
In 2007, 16-year-old Daniel Petrick shot both of his parents over a disagreement about Halo 3. After his parents found out that he purchased the game against their wishes, they took it away and locked it in the home safe. Daniel found the key to unlock the safe. Unfortunately, his game was right next to a gun. Reacting on impulse, Daniel grabbed the gun. He then snuck up behind his parents and said,
how this goes.
"Would you close your eyes? I have a surprise for you."
Don't do it.
He shot them both, killing his mother and critically injuring his father. After Daniel shot both of his parents, he then put the gun in his father's hand so he could make it look like a murder-suicide.
That's
As
flawed.
the police arrived on scene, they found
I don't understand why you do that,
bro. In the family van. With the Halo 3
you can't play Halo no more.
Because of his age, Daniel could not have been given.
He put in the passenger seat?
He was given life in prison and won't be eligible for parole until 2032.
Then you might as well die in 2032.
An 18-year-old only known as Chuang died at an internet cafe in Taiwan after reportedly playing the video game Diablo 3 for 40 hours straight. An attendant at the cafe found Chuang resting on the table next to his computer. The attendant woke him up. Chuang then stood up, took a few steps, and then collapsed onto the ground. He was pronounced dead soon after arriving at the hospital. His death was due in part to a blood clot in his leg, presumably from sitting in front of that computer too long. Blizzard, the parent company over Diablo, released a statement that said, "We feel that moderation is clearly important, and that a person's
Blizzard, you don't gotta apologize,
man.
That's his fault.
Over any form of entertainment." A 17-year-old Philippine teen murdered his own grandmother after she interrupted his Dota match.
Come on, Homeland.
The teen had been playing Defense of the Ancients in a neighborhood internet
making us look bad.
His grandmother, who told him not to play that game anymore, went to pick him up and return him to their home. When the woman began scolding him about the game, he alleges that he blacked out and beat.
Hey, all Filipinos aren't like that, alright?
The teen cleaned up the bloody crime scene and called his aunt, who then called the police. The victim was found with wounds on her neck, chest, head, and arms. Police officers also found blood-stained ceramic shards of what appeared to be a smashed vase in a garbage bin in the front yard. The grandmother, who had raised the boy since early childhood on her own, was killed because the boy wanted to play a video game. South Korean man Lee Seong-sol wasn't just an avid player of StarCraft. He was addicted to it. He let the popular real-time strategy game take control over his entire life. In 2005, he started spending all of his time playing the game, which cost him his job and longtime girlfriend. Lee would spend almost all of his money over the SC2? He was used to playing 14 to 18-hour sessions, but when he started a 50-hour session, that was the end of his gaming days.
50?
At the end, he collapsed and died from exhaustion and dehydration. When it comes to games,
no F's given, bro.
Healthy enthusiasm and an unhealthy addiction. In this case, the
dedication is real.
Consumed him. 17-year-old Warren LeBlanc of Leicestershire, England,
Filipino and black, both my races.
Emulating a death scene in a video game in 2004. The game in question? Manhunt. The game was developed by Rockstar North. Armed with a knife and a claw hammer, Warren lured 14-year-old Stefan Pakira to a nearby park. He bludgeoned and stabbed the boy over 50 times until he died. In the trial, the mother of the victim was forced to leave the room as details of her son's horrific murder were explained to the court. At the end of the proceedings, the judge stated,
what makes you do that? You play a game and then you come back and be like, oh, the game took over me. You know, let me go stab somebody.
Murderous attack on someone who thought of you as a friend. In 2013, an 8-year-old Louisiana boy intentionally shot and killed 87-year-old Mary Smothers, his own grandmother. The event happened only minutes after the boy started playing Grand Theft Auto. Authorities believe he intentionally shot Mrs. Smothers in the back of the head as she sat in her living room.
I'm not laughing at the death, man. I'm laughing at
the victim have stated that the victim and the
man played GTA 5 minutes
relationship and even shared the same bedroom.
The influence.
The sheriff's department released a statement statement, saying investigators have learned that the juvenile suspect was playing Grand Theft Auto 4 just minutes before the homicide occurred. The boy,
I do
now
remember that
living with
mission,
his
though. I remember
parents,
that mission.
won't face charges. Under Louisiana law, a child younger than 10 is exempt from criminal responsibility. 18-year-old Devin Moore was actually arrested.
Devin Moore? Yo, son, that's my name. I'm just taking L's, bro.
While being processed at the police station, he lunged at one of the officers and grabbed his .40 caliber Glock. He shot him and 2 other police officers in the head as he made his way out of the station to then steal a police cruiser. Once caught and handcuffed, Moore uttered, "Life is a video game. You've got to die sometime." In the trial, his defense team tried to use the Rockstar game Grand Theft Auto Vice City as a scapegoat for the young man's violent acts. Ultimately, Devin was sentenced to death by lethal injection. In 2014, an 11-year-old boy in the Philippines was stabbed to death by a 16-year-old male. Allegedly, the 11-year-old victim hacked into the older teen's online account. According to the
what they got going on in the Philippines.
The victim was taken to a construction site where he was beat up by the suspect. His head was slammed on the walls repeatedly before being stabbed over 40 times. The 16-year-old suspect denied any contact with the victim. However, he was found with heavily blood-stained shorts and drops of blood leading up to his house. The stabbing was so horrific that the mother couldn't recognize her own son. 28-year-old Philadelphia man Tyrone Spellman beat his 17-month-old daughter to death in 2006 while playing the popular game Ghost Recon. His toddler crawled into the room and accidentally toppled over his Xbox, breaking it. In a fit of rage, Spellman repeatedly beat the child. Investigators contest that the child's battered body was then positioned next to a barbell in another room to make the death look like an accident. Spellman fled the scene but turned himself in the next day. Official autopsy reports indicate that the toddler's skull had been shattered and caved in by continued blows to the head. Spellman, who was a self-admitted video game
it's not that serious, son.
Intend to kill the child. He was sentenced to 22 to 45 years in prison.
Oh, you dead, bro. 45?
In 2014, 12-year-old Peyton Leutner was stabbed 19 times and left to die in the middle of the woods. The culprits responsible for the attempted murder were 2 of Peyton's close friends, 12-year-old Morgan Geiser and 13-year-old Anissa Wire. The 2 girls were trying to please a fictional video game character, Slender Man. They thought that if they sacrificed a real person to him, he wouldn't haunt them or hurt their families. According to court documents, they told detectives they had been planning to stab her for months. Investigators discovered more than 60 drawings of Slender Man in Geiser's bedroom.
They tried to donate somebody to Slender Man?
And a person standing over her with the message, "I love killing people." Once the pair lured Peyton into the woods, one of the girls pounced on her and started to stab her repeatedly. During the entire ordeal, the victim was screaming in agony and saying, "I hate you guys. I'll never forgive you. I trusted you." Once the attack was over, the girls ran away. Miraculously, Peyton survived the attack and crawled her way to a nearby trail where she was discovered by a cyclist. Leutner has made an amazing recovery from the attempted murder, and as of this year, the girl who came within a whisper of death celebrated her 13th birthday.
Hell yeah, at least she survived. Crazy people, man. Damn. Man, it's crazy people out there in this world, man. Crazy people out there in this world. It's crazy people out there in this world, man. You need to watch your kids, man, what they play and shit. Wouldn't been me. Shit, I'll tell you that. I ain't going to jail for no damn game. But this your boy Dev. I appreciate it for the first video. Like, comment, subscribe.